Alright, so here we are again. And before we go any further, you know, there's not a whole lot that I can do about the angle, if I'm being completely honest. Mostly because it's just like, maybe I'll do more like this, but like, see my big head. But like, it's kind of, it's difficult, honestly, to do it this way. Mostly because, uh, it's just not really a phone that's built for this, I guess. I don't know, maybe I need a selfie stick. Get like a selfie stick. Oh, dog. That dog's barking. Yep, dogs are barking. Dogs are barking. Squirrels walking across the street. Yeah. Gonna definitely be running into a lot of people. So this walk takes me like a good, like, I don't know, 25 minutes. Something along those lines. So it's like very, it's a very, good walk, you know? That's what I would say. It's a good walk. Hold on. Oh, okay. Never mind. Um, anyway, uh, how are you guys doing today? This is not live, so I wouldn't really have any sort of, uh, thing to say. Uh, hold on. Anytime I say hold on, it's because there's probably somebody nearby, uh, and I am trying to avoid them. So if there's like a sudden stop, you'll know why. So, what is there to even talk about? I don't know. I've brought it up before, and I mean, since obviously most of you guys are all about the RP stuff, and I don't really necessarily want to talk about RP stuff with these vlogs, but like at the same time, it's probably going to end up coming up, so maybe I can tell the story about how I got onto NoPixel in the first place. I mean, it's no longer really it's not some earth-shattering story, or anything like that, but, what I will say is that it was I don't want to say spur of the moment thing, but it was certainly a unexpected sort of situation. And we have like two sets of people in front of me, so that's cool. Walking their dogs. But like, it was mostly in January, I guess, of 2020, which is literally right before the pandemic, or at least right before it went into full swing. I don't know, did I say 2021 or did I say 2020? 2020 is the actual date if I said 2021, but that was the month that I got onto the server in 2020. 2019, probably that December is probably when I applied. This was during a time though when they were busy, I think, and I don't really know how the hell it's changed since then. I'm sure that it's probably a much quicker process than it was back then, but during those times, especially during the holidays, approving people to play on the server was a decidedly difficult proposition. Um, And it took about like a month, obviously, because I was approved in January and I was playing pretty much right away. But in terms of like RP, I've never really truly RP'd prior to NoPixel. I mean, I was on another server. Uh, it was known as New Age RP, and it was sort of dying. It was a dead server. It wasn't even dying. Yeah, it was just dead. Um, and the server was a server that we did the best that we could on with what we had, which was very little. There were times where there would be like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people on the server at any given time. And, we were just kind of like a group that just kind of hung out together. But we took nothing and we built it into something. And the idea was that at that time, we wanted to try and rebuild that server. And we were succeeding. We were doing God's work on that server. I had a loyalty to that server that honestly kind of defines me in general, and that I have a specific sort of stagnation when it comes down to what I want and the things I want to see happen and the characters that I want to play, to my detriment and to my success. And basically, the server had a lot of interesting things on it. I think there was a whole hell of a lot of potential on that server, and we wanted to bring it back to life. And I cultivated some very close friendships with some of those people that we played with on that server, and we kind of took nothing and we turned it into something. We created some very interesting storylines and very interesting characters, and really just kind of like real, true role play was generated throughout these stories. You really felt like you could, build something out of these stories, and it was fucking fantastic. It was fucking great. I've always been a very creative person. I do have a bit of a vision, I suppose, when it comes down to the creative process. I have a history as a bit of a writer. I've written a lot of things. Nothing really overly crazy per se, but like nothing released professionally is what I want to say. That's what I'm actually the term I'm looking for. And so I kind of applied that to, RP, to roleplay, among other things. And it kind of defines me in a lot of ways. Mostly because I can be... I don't really know what the word is. Like, I'm not difficult. Like, I'm really not. But I can be... Like, if I don't like something, then I'm going to probably point it out, If I don't like something, then I'm probably going to be like, very wishy-washy about it. And let's just say maybe it's gotten me into trouble or something. I don't know, once or twice. I don't know. I couldn't possibly say how it's gotten me into trouble, but let's just say that it's gotten me into trouble. And basically, it's kind of like I'm just trying to think of the words for this. Being creative is difficult to maneuver around because, like, when you feel like nobody else is sharing that vision of creativity, you feel like you're just kind of alone in a room filled with all kinds of different people, kinds of different personalities, and you're not able to mesh. Like, my whole philosophy with RP is that nothing should be set in stone. There's no types when it comes down to RP. To me, now everybody has their way of looking at it. Everybody has their way of simplifying the equation. But I personally have never found myself sticking to any one particular category when it comes down to RP. I'm going into a bit of a different direction with the conversation than what I initially was. You thought that this was about how I got on NoPixel and stuff like that. That was not what this was about. That was a starting point. But in terms of, like, we're just gonna get loud here in a second because I'm near the busy road, which I may give a shot of here in a second if there aren't too many people around. This was like way too many fucking people around. Hold on. See, I'm not gonna edit these because that involves work, and I'm not gonna work on something if I don't need to work on it. So most of what you see is what you're gonna get. You can maybe take a look. Alright, I'm right next to the busy road. You can see we have, that's Woodward. That's at least a little bit of Woodward. The road that stretches all the way through Detroit. And all the way back here. But anyway, I am now heading back into the direction of my home. It is 13 minutes, so good way to kind of calculate the length of the walk so I can confirm exactly just how long the walk is publicly, as opposed to using a timer, which is what I would normally do. Who knows how long this, I don't even know if my battery is going to last. Who knows? If I suddenly go quiet, it's because the battery went dead. And if that's the case, I'm going to post this video as it is. Like I said, we're doing it live, but we're doing it pre-recorded. If that makes any sense. Basically, nothing that you think RP is accurate, in my opinion. RP is fluid. RP is something that changes on a dime. RP should not be placed in any specific category. Now, you can obviously play within category if you wish. You can choose to adhere to specific categories if you want. But you can also be like, nah, dog, I'm good. Which is why I refuse to put myself into any sort of category that would result in me being considered a serial killer RPer. I don't like it. I don't want it. That's not what I am. I am not a serial killer RPer because Mr. Smiley wasn't made to be a serial killer. Mr. Smiley was a goofy character for the most part. He was clearly a goofy character with an edge to him, but he was never made to be a serial killer. He never was. It developed into that over time, but I mean, again, he's a character that has been through a lot of different changes as time has gone on. During my stay on the server, and by the way, the character I played before No Pixel was not Mr. Smiley. It was his name was Brian East. He's a character that I actually do have on No Pixel. I just haven't used him. I really just don't have a place for him. Though he had a very, very intriguing storyline, and I'll probably get into that maybe in a future vlog. But yeah, it's just like I don't believe in the idea of creating a character that just exists for a specific purpose and then they fuck off. That's not me. It's never been me. It's never going to be me. Which is why I refuse to buckle, under the pressure, despite the psychological effects it has on me over this whole parole hearing shit. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm okay with any of it. I'm not going to sit here and do that. That's just not something that I'm going to do. I'm not going to be someone who's like content. I'm not somebody who's going to be like, oh, that's okay. That's just not really in me to do. Am I gonna go all like, oh, fuck this shit? No. But I'll admit that I've often been tempted to. It is certainly a thing that has never been far from my head. I mean, it's been, a year and a half, So it's incredibly difficult to maintain a level of decorum that allows me to, keep some semblance of sanity. But this is one of the reasons why I'm going for walks now, is because it's just like I found some different avenues that make me happy. And it's still actually warm enough outside. It's still actually quite warm today, surprisingly, to give me the opportunity to, maybe get into shape. Something I never really would have done before. As I get older. By the way, yeah, Kenneth is 38. I am 32. I am a youngin'. But I feel like an oldin' sometimes, if I'm being blunt. Millennials are kind of in that space, I would say. At least Y2K millennials, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I don't even know. But, yeah, it's just like, creatively, I have a lot of different ideas that are not the same as your ideas. And when I say your ideas, I mean the ideas that are more publicly accessible and understood by most people. Like, I have written a good chunk of stories that are very My brother would probably describe them as edgelordy, which is not really something that uh, I would ever do, but ever want them to be described as. But like, it just kind of is what it is. But like, a lot of my stories are villain-based stories in which the main character is traditionally a villain, and they're not typically portrayed as a villain with a heart of gold. They're not typically portrayed as villains um, that are like anti-heroes or villains in Hollywood films that are rewritten to be superheroes, even though they're supervillains technically in the comic, and they've never had their anti-hero arc. But then they make them into an anti-hero, which pisses me off. Venom, I'm looking at you. Um, I know that Venom is technically an anti-hero in the comics too, but Lethal Protector, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But like, you know, you gotta earn that. You gotta earn that, in my opinion. But anyway, it's kind of similar to maybe gangster storylines, or even Breaking Bad stuff. Is the type of stories that I like to adhere to, except without the gangster part. I'm more interested in just villains who are not necessarily gang characters, but are characters that are, for all intents and purposes, the villain of most other people's stories, right? But them being the focus instead. And them sticking to their guns, them sticking to their convictions of whatever their philosophy is, and it being written in such a way to where you kind of get where they're coming from. Because too many writers, they're stuck in this rut of writing a specific type of character and, implementing their own philosophy onto things, when in reality they should be kind of smart enough to come up with different, philosophies. Like, if you're going to be a writer, you should be able to kind of write different philosophies for different characters. You should not be pointing out, oh, well, they're right, this is wrong, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong, that type of writing is what I like to call bad writing. And my whole thing is that obviously, I like to kind of explore those types of characters. Now, obviously, an RP environment, most characters are technically bad guys. Some of them are a little bit more heart of gold types. But most of them are not very nice people. Remember the characters, of course. So in that sense, actually, NoPixel was almost like a perfect outlet for creating those types of characters. But the trade-off, though, is that I'm not gonna get. Actually, no, I'm not gonna get into the trade-off. But I'm trying to think here. The concept is that you can freely tell whatever story you want to tell, and the story I wanted to tell was kind of like a combination of two things when it came down to NoPixel, and the more goofy side of NoPixel merged with the serious side of NoPixel. And there was a time where you had kind of free reign to do pretty much whatever you wanted, and set certain standards for the role play that other people had to adhere to. Those days are kind of gone, for better and for worse. Dogs. But the idea is that This is quite the neighborhood, you know that? The idea is that I'm like losing my train of thought. I may actually have to move this to another vlog, but the idea, to kind of like sum it up in a bit of a nutshell, um, the uh, the idea is that I kind of wanted to merge together two different types of quote unquote RP types, and one was the serious storylines, but also kind of maybe the semi-serious storylines. But the semi-serious storylines usually result in quick conclusions. Now, I can probably get more into that on a third vlog, but like, it's more of like to kind of dumb it down though a little bit. I wanted to kind of present serious RP in a more fast RP environment, if that makes any sense. Um, the concept was, I'm about to get to my house here, so I'm going to be ending this in a second, but the concept was that the story uh, begins and ends as quickly as it started, but and was goofy, but then the goofiness was traded for seriousness, at least in the way that I wanted to do it. I'm gonna get more into that later. Till then, though, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.